Hello and welcome back to FT Business School. The world's economic centre of gravity is shifting rapidly to the east, where countries such as China and India are seeing rapid growth and social change. It's a trend that most business schools outside the region have acknowledged, but seem almost powerless to address, while most business schools in the region lack the capacity and the experience to deal with it. Kalok Chan is the newly appointed Dean of the Business School at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Professor Chan, with the rise in Asian business, will we see a rise in Asian business schools? Are we going to see, in the next decade, for example, that some Chinese or Indian business schools will be spoken of in the same sentence as Kellogg or Wharton or Stanford?
Well, certainly that we do really see that it might happen, because that with the rise of the two biggest economies in the world, I mean, it's going to give rise to big demand, I mean, for business education, and also that the research program. So certainly that we do really would like to see, I mean, some of these brand name schools also arising in China or in India.
Are the issues that business schools in Asia face very different from those that are faced by business schools in, let's say, Europe or the US?
I mean, certainly, because that some of the economies that we're talking about, China or India, and then the pace of the stages of the development are very different from these developing countries in the West. And so certainly there are a lot of different issues, whether it's environmental, social, or economic issues. They are quite different. And so therefore certainly that we need to have different ways in analyzing the problems.
Okay, so what are some of the issues? I mean, are there political issues involved here?
I think that what the major or some of the issues are, like social issues, for example, that the social inequality, I mean, income inequality, I mean, that's a really some of the big problem. And then certainly that after these economies have been growing for so fast, I mean, there's also the issue about the sustainability, whether the economy can be really going in the same pace as before, and also that what the implication for the environment. I mean, so these are really important issues.
Right, so can we think of Asia as one single market, or are we talking about a lot of very different markets here?
No, I think that Asia is quite big, and then that is a very different across the different countries. So I think that it should really be a very heterogeneous region, and so it should be many different countries rather than one single country.
If we take China as an example, I mean, what are the differences in teaching in China, in the subjects you teach, from teaching in, say, the US, where you were a professor for a very long time?
Well, certainly, because that the China does not really that come from have a good institutional system being established, and so therefore that there are quite a lot of the issues are really that probably influenced by the government policy. And so certainly that when we analyze some of these problems, that we have really to understand about this government policy as well, rather than really that ignoring it.
Right. Okay. So I mean, is this part of the problem that European and US business schools have in moving into the Asian market, or is it something far more fundamental? Is it that they can't move quickly enough?
I think that certainly that we welcome the schools from the West to move to China, because that really there are really quite a heavy demand for this business education, and that knowing that this how this global business are being done, and how this global economy is evolving, certainly is going to be beneficial to the participants from in China. But of course, that, as I say, there are really some of these region and country-specific issues that need to be addressed, and certainly that people that who are really doing the research and teaching in the region have the expertise on that.
Professor Chan, thank you very much indeed.
Okay, thank you.
To watch more FT interviews with business school deans, go to ft.com/business education.